Hey guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 62, and today I want to talk a little bit about teamwork. Now, I don't talk a whole lot about my time in the military, but I had two basic things I did in the military. I was part of security forces, and then after I was done with security forces, I went on to become a scout sniper. Now, the common theme with both of those things is that there is a lot of teamwork involved. And this is in general in the military, but particularly when you're in an infantry position. People's lives are dependent on you working well together. And it is really the camaraderie that comes from that, and just this sense of like belonging and being part of a team, like it is really unmatched. I mean, I can imagine that, playing certain sports, and I grew up playing sports, but there wasn't necessarily this sense of camaraderie. I mean, you're playing with your friends. I mean, they were your friends, and that was cool, but it's a completely different thing when everybody is striving to achieve a common goal. And when I was in the military, it was a really enjoyable thing. In fact, it was my favorite part of being in the military. I like doing things that challenge myself, but I like doing those things with other people where you can make each other better. You can, help someone on their shortcomings, they can help you on your shortcomings. It's just a really rewarding experience. And that is kind of the feeling that I get at the clinic now. When I started and it was just me, I mean, it was fun growing a clinic from just me and adding people along the way. But we're finally at a point right now where it really feels like we have a lot of good, cohesion and camaraderie, and just we work so well as a team, and it feels really good. And it's something that's, just as gratifying to me as treating hearing loss and working with my patients. Now, I love working with my patients, but nothing makes me feel better than knowing that every single person on our staff or part of our team is striving for the same goal, which is to provide the absolute best patient care experience possible and the best hearing outcome possible. And it really starts at the front of the house. When someone calls to schedule an appointment, they're going to be talking to one of our patient care coordinators, whether it's Christine, whether it's Diane, and they're really the tip of the spear when it comes to it. And we get calls from people all over the country. And these are people who are not necessarily ever going to be patients of ours, but they have a ton of questions, and it's the job of Diane and Christine to get those individuals pointed in the right direction, whether it's to find a provider in their local area that they know that is good because they're part of the Best Practice Pro network, whether it's just to answer simple questions that they know the answer to because they get asked those questions all the time, or because they've talked to me about the answers to those questions, or they've seen my videos. They do a really good job of essentially triaging and figuring out what's the best option for that particular individual who's calling. And if it's to schedule an appointment with us, that's great. They have a job to do in terms of finding the best provider for them to see, because I'm not the only provider in the clinic, and just making sure that the patient, the individual who's calling, knows exactly what's going to happen next, and really kind of helping them understand the whole process of how things work inside of the clinic. And really, they're the face of the clinic. I know that I'm like, my face is out there on the internet and all of that, but really the first person that you talk to inside of a particular practice is the face of that practice. That is where the initial, the initial contact is made. First impressions are huge. They're who sets that first impression. And if they do a bad job of that, then there's nothing that we can do to kind of overcome that. And it's something that they've gotten substantially better with over the course of time. And part of that's because we've been trying to give them better guidance on how to improve what they're already good at doing, which is communicating with other people. So it starts there. And then, kind of the second position is Chris, who is our office manager, and she's constantly on the phone fighting with insurance companies to get those insurance companies to cover, to actually pay out the benefits for your hearing treatment, because we still have a provider who's in network with some insurances, and we're still fighting to get paid on other insurances as well. And if she doesn't do her job well, then you don't get to use your insurance benefits inside of our clinic. Now, the other thing about her, though, is that she's just like really good at not needing to be given direction and just figuring stuff out. That is like one of my favorite things ever. My wife hates me for saying it, but like Chris is just really good at figuring stuff out and getting stuff done. And the other thing that Chris is really good at is kind of staying, or keeping me on task. And, when I make mistakes, which happens more than I would like to admit, but when I forget to enter things into a patient's chart or something like that, she is constantly hounding me to remind me to do those things. And if it wasn't for her, there would be a ton of stuff that would go missed by me, and the result of it would be a poorer outcome for my patients, which is unacceptable. So having that accountability that she provides is absolutely fantastic. The next person in the team really is my wife, Ashley. Now, she has a role inside of the clinic as like the clinic administrator, but she also runs all of my Dr. Cliff stuff too. So, whether it's, speaking and scheduling with manufacturers, for sponsored content, or just having conversations with other hearing care providers that want to talk to me, administrating the network, the Best Practice Pro network, like she does it all. And if it wasn't for her, nothing else happens. Like everything comes to a standstill, and I look much worse without her in the equation, which so I'm super thankful for her to be on the team. I would consider her to really be almost kind of like the coach of the team, so to, if you will, because she is working with the audiologist, she's working with the assistant, she's working with the patient care coordinators, she's working with Chris, the office manager, and she really kind of facilitates everyone and makes sure that they're all doing what they're supposed to do. The other individual on our team is the other audiologist, Dr. Bryce Altis. Bryce, we hired right out of Arizona State University. Just graduated a couple months before we actually brought him on, and he has really, really grown in a really short amount of time. What is it? It's like mid-March at this point. He started with us in July, and he has really developed into a solid provider. And, he's actually, when you start looking at the reviews that we're getting in our clinic, like the positive reviews, the vast majority of the most recent positive reviews are for him. When it comes down to it, Bryce was really receptive. He's a very coachable individual, and he took the coaching that we provided him with, and he just ran with it. And he is absolutely phenomenal. And he knows that we have a really high standard in the clinic, and sometimes that's a lot for a provider to kind of walk into, especially when you just graduated from your program. But because he's an intelligent individual, he is open to being coached, he welcomes criticism, he's always asking questions about like, hey, like I approached this treatment from this way, like which way would you have done it? Like he's always doing those things that you want a provider to do. And same thing in sports, right? Like you want a player on your team that is always striving to be better and who's willing to put in the work. He doesn't leave at 5 o'clock at the end of the day. Like he sticks around to make sure he gets all his work done. And if he has questions, he gets those questions answered so he can be better and better prepared the next day that he comes in. So I really couldn't speak more highly of any provider. I am just as happy working with him and having him be a part of the team as I would a 20-year vet being on my team who's seen it all and who's done it all. The other individual that we recently brought on was Bree, who's an assistant basically. She comes in and she's helping me be more efficient with my time. The biggest problem that I have is that so many people want to see me, and it's hard for me to say no, and I still want to provide a really high level of care for all of my patients. I don't want to have to say to my patients like, listen, I can't see you anymore because I'm too busy, doing other things. So what Bree helps me do is be more efficient with my time. And so, as time goes on, some of my patients who are used to seeing me all the time for everything, even just the really routine, general stuff, they don't necessarily have to see me for those really routine little things. What they have to see me for is for the complex stuff that requires me doing that for them. And while I want to see them every single visit, and I probably still will see them to some degree every single visit, there are going to be visits for some of my patients that they see Bree for certain things and not necessarily me all the time. But what that allows me to do is keep them on as one of my patients, and I can still provide them with a really high quality of care that they've grown accustomed to at this point. And I get that my job is a highly social job. I have to say that, one of the things that's crazy is that I just like my patients. I just like hanging out with them. And my staff has to constantly remind me, like, Cliff, like, that's cool, you want to hang out with your patients, but you still got a job to do. So, exchange the pleasantries. You can, ask them how they're doing. You can share the, your stories with how you're doing, and they know I like to talk. But it's one of those things where they have to make sure that I'm kind of staying on task with this, and I still want to have that social relationship with all of my patients. Because I mean, to be honest with you, if you're one of my patients, it's because I like you. If I don't like you, you're not one of my patients. And I know that sounds really bad, but I want to enjoy coming to work every day, and I don't necessarily want to work with people who are jerks. And so if you're a jerk, I don't want to work with you. And if I was a jerk to you, you wouldn't want to be my patient either. So, having Bree on the staff helps me be better at what I do, and helps me kind of allow me to see more people and treat more people. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, well, shoot, am I not going to get to see Dr. Cliff anymore? It's like you'll still see me, but you might see me a little bit less, so I can help other individuals who also need a high level of attention to detail when it comes to their hearing treatment. So, yeah, it would be great if we could always just have these, hour-long visits where you just chat with me for the 50 minutes of it and I do 10 minutes worth of work, but we need to be more realistic with the amount of time that we're spending. And just so you know, and I've said this in a previous video, Bree is so quick that I feel like she has 6 months worth of knowledge already at week 2, which is blowing me away. She picks up on stuff so quickly. Now, part of it might be that I'm just an exceptional teacher. That is totally a plausible theory right there. But at the end of the day, you can just tell when someone's super smart and they can pick up stuff super quick. She's one of those individuals. She also has a great personality, so if you end up seeing her, the chances are you actually might be disappointed when you have to come back and see me. So I guess we'll see and we'll find out with that. When we all work together, and that's the thing is that we all have a really, really great working relationship. Sure, there are times when we might disagree with each other. There are times when, someone makes mistakes and someone else has to cover up for the other individual, but we never really make each other feel bad about it. And that's kind of going back to this military mentality, is that you don't have time to kind of get mad at somebody for doing something wrong. I mean, you have a mission to accomplish. If someone makes a mistake, you better pick up the ball and run with it for them, right? Or pick them up when they fall. And that's kind of the mentality that I really enjoy inside of my clinic. And to be honest, to be completely honest with you, I'm not even sure that any of it's my doing. I set this vision of we are going to be the best, and there's no such thing as a mistake as long as we learn from it. But other than that, I'm literally trapped inside of my room for 10 hours out of the day seeing patients. And it just speaks to the character of the people that I have on staff and who are part of the team. So over this last Friday here, to finish off the week, we decided to take the whole team out for lunch. And then we got to do something fun, and something that was fun to do, but also kind of a team building exercise. So we decided to do an escape room. Now, if you've never done an escape room, first off, they are the most fun thing ever in the world, because it's basically this big puzzle that you have to put together, and you have to really think outside of the box to get out of the room. And the people that you go in with to these escape rooms are critical, because you cannot do it all on your own. You have to rely on each other in order to get out. Escape in an hour is basically what you have to do. So you have to find all these clues, you have to put them all together and use everybody's collective knowledge to escape the room. And so we did an escape room as a team. There were 7 of us, and there were times where it's what the heck are we doing? But then there's always somebody who comes up with an idea of what you could do to solve the problem. And that's the thing that's so fun about the escape rooms, is because you have to work together as a team to accomplish the mission. And so we had a blast. I mean, the place that we went, it was a really cool theme about it. It was a really hard one. I mean, really, really hard. And we ended up, I can't remember the time. I'll put up our photo at the end of the escape room. But we had 2.5 minutes left. It was just a really fun and rewarding experience, a fun team building experience. And, I want to do these things more often, and us doing things like that to kind of help build more camaraderie with each other is something that I think directly benefits someone coming into our clinic, because when you go through experiences like that, it's hard to match that with anything else that you could do day in, day out at the office. When you mix kind of this recreation with this whole team building concept, it's just, there's something magical that happens there. So I had a blast. After we were done, it happened to be at this place called Soda Jerk. We got some ice cream when we were done. It was just a really fun Friday activity together. To be quite honest with you, it was nice because this is like the first time that we've been out of the house. I know that we went to that conference late last year, like a socially distanced conference, but this was like the first thing that we've really done since the beginning of COVID. Especially as kind of a team. We even had to cancel our Christmas party last year, because of the concerns with COVID. But I just wanted to share that and kind of my experience with my team. I think the team's fantastic, and I wouldn't change a single individual on the team. I'm looking forward to having a new team member join us in May, because we have a student extern from ASU who's going to join us, and I'm looking forward to them coming into a really, really strong team and working and helping her develop and grow as a young audiologist. And that's a responsibility that I don't take lightly, and that my staff doesn't take lightly, to be quite honest, because they know that there's a certain standard that needs to be upheld, and we want to make sure that she's capable of upholding that standard too. So I have rambled on enough for this video this week. Just know that it was a totally awesome week this past week. We are really cranking on all cylinders. The team is fired up, ready to go, and we're excited to get back to it next week. So that is it for this week's vlog, guys. Make sure that you hit up that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button if you want to. And as always, we'll see you next week.